Hey everybody. Everybody wants to know what's going on with mortgages and rates and everything in the world right now. It's just craziness. We are starting to see more of an uptick in FHA loans. I think I just closed my first one since 2019 almost. It's kind of crazy. So we have Jeff McCarthy here. He's a mortgage advisor that's going to give us a little bit of a rundown about what's going on in the mortgage world with FHA especially.
Hey, Nikki, it's nice to
Hey
be
Jeff.
here. Nice to be here. And yes, that's so true. FHA is really becoming a contender right now in this market. 2020, 2021, that wasn't the case, but they've done a couple things right now to really make it a more effective loan. So the biggest announcement, if we can just dive right into it, is
Yeah, let's go.
okay, uh, is basically the FHA announces mortgage insurance premium. So do you know what a mortgage insurance premium is, Nikki?
So that's just the extra fee that goes on to basically any loan when you're putting less than 20% down, right?
Exactly. So, in a conventional world, anything less than 20%, you get tagged with mortgage insurance, which is basically protecting the lender against you going through foreclosure. FHA, it doesn't matter how much you put down. Mortgage insurance is always a part of the program, and it was always a lot of money. And so that usually was kind of, a little bit higher debt to income ratio for FHA, which is good, but you also had such a higher mortgage insurance premium that it kind of offset each other. But FHA now just announced, hey, we're going to reduce that mortgage insurance premium and we're going to give you a much better discount rate. So it's a great program. So we can kind of show you how this works out in the real world.
Yeah, what's that look like?
Definitely. We'll just take a look at this little sample right here. And we can look at these three scenarios right here. And so the first column here, which is 350,000. This is at the old insurance premium rate. So the old insurance premium rate was 0.85% of the loan amount. So almost 1% of the loan amount you'd be paying on a yearly basis, and then it's divided by each month. And that was going towards them protecting the lender against default. And you can see here at a $350,000 loan, the loan amount at 10% down is $337.50. Interest rates right now about 6.875%. So the full payment came out to about 28.67. So not too bad, but something that is now being reduced. So in the second column is where the new mortgage insurance premium now takes place. So everything's about the same, but you can see the payment went from 28.67 to 27.79. So you're saving $88 a month, and that's a good
Yeah.
amount of money per month.
No, that makes a really big difference, especially with the increases in insurance and things like that. That can really help out a lot of people.
Absolutely. In fact, that's a great point because insurance went up maybe $50 a month right there, $60 a month. And so now this kind of covers the insurance, maybe increasing a little bit. But it also does something pretty cool as well, is it gives you a little more buying power in this market, and so that's what column 3 is. It says, look, if I'm okay with a $2,867 payment, and my debt to income ratio is okay with that, and I'm wanting to move forward with that payment with the lower MI, the mortgage insurance premium, we can now purchase a little bit higher loan purchase price. So we go from 350,000 up to 363,000. So that little bit of reduction in mortgage insurance premium equates to about $13,000 in buying power for the consumer right now.
And that can make such a huge difference. I'm working with somebody right now who, she just wasn't finding what she was wanting in her budget. And we literally just upped it about $10,000 and she found exactly what she wanted. So I know for some people that may not seem like a lot, but as far as like the price brackets that you're looking in your search, it can be huge.
Absolutely. And $88 right now, especially with inflation getting higher. I mean, inflation was already high. It's coming down a little bit. But, with inflation as high as it is and the way the economy is, $88 can go a long way per month.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so that's one of the best things about FHA is now it's kind of like brought it down and it made it affordable for a lot more people to kind of enter the marketplace because I think you're seeing higher, purchase prices are pretty much sustained and interest rates are not
Yeah.
going anywhere right now. It's making it a little bit harder for buyers in this market.
It is. So, one of the things I wanted to kind of discuss with you is there's so many times that I will see a listing that comes across and it says cash or conventional only. I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions, even with listing agents out there, that are just so anti FHA. And since we're having this and we're seeing lower rates and payments for people, I want to be able to share more information with agents, whatnot, of why they shouldn't be so scared of FHA. So the very first thing that most people say is, oh, there's certain conditions like the FHA appraisers are so brutal, blah 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 blah. But with the way that insurance is right now, it's going to need the same requirements as anything else because your biggest thing is going to be your roof and everything has cracked down. So, like, do you see any issue as far as an FHA appraisal that it would really be any different than a conventional loan at this point in time?
I do a lot of FHA right now. Over the last year, we've definitely increased our FHA production, and I've never had an appraisal problem. The only times I have an appraisal problem is like if there's holes in the wall. Whoops, got it. If there's holes in the wall, or if there's something that is causing the water heater not to work, and they don't have hot water, those are necessary items anyway that needs to be
Right.
addressed.
Those are 4 point issues, so it'd be an insurance issue anyways.
Yep, exactly, exactly. So it's a great way, and a lot of people have this idea that FHA is for people with lower FICOs, or somebody that may not be as well qualified, and that's just not the case. Most of the time people use FHA is because of student loans. Their student loans
Really?
is causing their debt to income ratio to increase. And as a result, it puts them out of a conventional loan and puts them into an FHA loan. I'll give you a prime example. I have two loans right now. They're 720 FICO, and they are in an FHA loan due to student loans.
Okay, that makes sense. So there's so many reasons that somebody can be doing FHA. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be a weaker buyer or anything like that. It's just a lot of times a better loan choice for people, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely a better loan choice, And right now, with the reduction of mortgage insurance premium, it makes it a lot more affordable. And FHA automatically has lower rates than
Right.
conventional. So it really puts it back into the limelight a little bit, where it's making housing more affordable for people.
And with the way things are, we really need that. So I'm glad they're doing something to kind of help out some.
Absolutely. And if we kind of continue in this market too, the nice thing about FHA is it allows for up to a 6% seller credit, no matter how much you put down. So, in some areas where we're still seeing seller credits happening, it allows us to even buy down the rate even more, or help with closing costs, if we can negotiate that. So it really is a great tool right now for the people that couldn't compete over the last 2 years to finally, be able to get a home, now.
Yeah, so a lot of these people that are, first time home buyers or have been holding off because they haven't been able to be competitive, what do you have to say to them when they just speak about the concerns about the rate being so high?
So it's a valid concern. Over the last year, people have lost $120,000 in purchasing power. So last year or 2 years ago, people couldn't compete. It was very competitive. Unless you were cash or 20, 30% down conventional, unfortunately, you weren't in the market at that point in time. But at the same time, you could afford a $400,000 house at that time. And now you're able to compete, but now you're being able to afford maybe a 300 or even lower house at that time, simply because the interest rate doubled, essentially, even, and in even more cases, even doubled even more. And so, but now, what we are able to do is use either a seller credit to help you permanently buy down that interest rate. And when we permanently buy down the interest rate, we can increase your affordability. We can give you a $60,000, $70,000 increase in purchasing power, just because we're able to buy down that interest rate. And with FHA being already about a half to a quarter point under conventional, most of my deals right now are closing in the fives. All of my deals right now are in the 5%.
Really, that's awesome.
And that really
And
helps.
you say that people get so, oh, rates are so high, rates are so high. My first house that I bought in 2020, 17 or 2018, I can't remember. I didn't have the best credit, and I bought a fixer upper house with an FHA loan, and my rate was like 5.75.
Yep.
So, it's not really that crazy. It's not that absurd.
No, no. And if we can utilize and maybe kind of strategize a little bit, and if we're able and lucky enough to get a seller credit, I'm telling my clients right now, look, if we're in the sixes and we're able to buy our rate down into the fives, the seller not only increases our our affordability a little bit, but they essentially also pay for our refinance at that time too.
Right.
And that saves $8,000 to $10,000 for most homeowners.
So there's a lot of options for people right now, which is good because I know the media and everything has made it really discouraging for a lot of people who are wanting to become homeowners. And with rent prices going up, you know, I know a lot of people think, oh, you're just pushing it because this is your job. No, rent prices, the average rent price in the Tampa Bay area right now is over $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
And it's only going to keep going up. If you buy something, you're locked in on that.
Absolutely. And you're creating equity, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing is we're kind of creating a little bit of wealth for you where you don't have to squirrel away money or, you're creating a equity just by living in the house, by paying the mortgage, you're creating equity, and by living in the house, you are creating equity through appreciation. So you have almost two sources of wealth building for you in that system.
No, it's great. I think home ownership is one of the best things that people can do for themselves to give themselves a leg up. Even if it's
Yep.
something that isn't your dream home, it's a starter, it's somewhere to start.
Absolutely. And the best thing about the starters are, look, I teach people this all the time is let's leapfrog you a little bit. If you're a millennial or even Gen X, you can leapfrog for a couple years. You buy a home, live in it for a year, keep that as a rental, buy you a new home. And then you just have now you have a rental property. You do that two or three times, you get the primary resident interest rate, which is always the best interest rate, but now you're being able to keep the properties and create a rental cash flow for yourself, as well, which is it works great in this market. And a lot of people are so
Yeah.
worried about home prices coming down. Recessions coming, home prices are coming down, and recessions don't reduce home prices. They reduce rate, but they don't reduce home prices. Inventory reduces home prices.
Yes. And we are still super low.
Absolutely.
I
It's horrible.
can't speak on any other market. I don't really know what's going on in real estate in different cities, but in Tampa at least, we still have an insanely low inventory. I think we're still under 3 months in most areas. Whereas, 2021, we were at less than a month inventory. It was absolutely insane, but we still have low inventory, so we still have really high demand. And I think that's
Absolutely.
going to continue to stay that way for a while.
It will. It's going to until the people that are in lower interest rates are kind of forced to move either by moving up or down or empty nesters or different types of situations that create the necessity to sell. Most people are finding it hard if they're in a 2.75% to sell the property. One, also looking for a house that's maybe higher in price with a higher interest rate. It makes a lot of people want to kind of sit back and relax a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Cool.
I really appreciate all the information. This is really great. We'll have to do this again for some of the other different loan types.
Yeah, absolutely. We can teach the world about time to buy a home right now.
Exactly.
Perfect. Well, I'm really glad. Thank you for inviting me on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate your time as always.
Yeah. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.